You've got about 50 business ideas in your notes app. You probably got some Pinterest boards too. And I bet you've probably purchased a couple of domains at 2 a.m. But then every Monday morning, you're going into the same conference room with the same coworkers. Let's talk about what's really happening here. Someone I met at a speaking engagement told me that she had been planning on a business for 4 years, had a business folder on her computer named Someday. That's 4 years of researching domains and researching LLCs. 4 years of telling herself maybe next year. And then her company announced layoffs. And you know what she said? Okay, finally, I have permission. And that's when I realized that this whole stagnation thing that's happening with women in corporate has nothing to do about the idea. It's not about not having a plan. Some of you have plenty of money. It's definitely not about time. The problem is you're waiting for permission that's not coming. If you're a high-achieving woman who's been waiting to start a business for over a year, this is not about your capabilities. You have the skills, you're clearly intelligent. This is about something completely deeper, something nobody wants to really admit. You're terrified of not knowing who you become if you actually do this, about not knowing anything other than who you are right now. And in the meantime, while you're managing your research and your planning, there's somebody out there who's doing the thing that you've been dreaming about. I'm Ayana. I help talented professionals stop researching and start building. After launching products at Google Cloud and then building my own businesses from my kitchen table, I realized a pattern. That gap between knowing and doing has nothing to do with capabilities and skill. It's all identity. Here's what's gonna happen in the next few minutes. I'm gonna show you the real reason why you haven't started. And it's not gonna be what you think. You'll learn why your backup plan is sabotaging your desire plan and how the corporate comfort trap actually works. And I'm gonna dash in the exact framework for how you can start before you feel ready. By the end, you'll understand what's really holding you back and have a clear path for how you can finally get started. Fair enough? Now, the fact that you're here tells me something. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're probably one of the most driven people in your office. You've achieved things most people only dream about. You've climbed ladders. You've earned respect. You've built a life that looks successful from the outside. And yet, every Sunday night, you feel that dread creeping in, that voice asking, is this really it? You tell yourself you'll start when the timing is better, when you have more savings, when the kids are older, when you figured out the perfect business model. But here's what's actually happening. You're using logic to manage fear, and fear always wins that game. Let's talk about the identity crisis that keeps high achievers stuck. You've spent your entire life building the identity of employee, reliable, professional, the one who delivers, the one who gets promoted. That identity has given you everything: status, stability, something to tell at dinner tables, proof that you made the right choices. And now you want to become a founder, which means dismantling the very identity that got you here. And that's not a tactical problem, that's an existential one. In corporate, your value is proven by your title. As a founder, you have no title, just results. In corporate, you're rewarded for following the playbook. As a founder, you have to write the playbook. In corporate, failure means missing a deadline. As a founder, failure feels like proving everyone right who said you should have stayed in your lane. This is why you keep researching, why you keep planning, why you keep waiting for one more certification, one more course, one more sign. You're not procrastinating, you're grieving the identity you have to let go of in order to become who you want to be. And nobody told you that's what starting a business actually requires, until now. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You tell yourself, I'll keep my job while I build on the side. That's smart, that's responsible, I teach that. But I want you to go into it with a plan that keeps you in control. Because here's what often happens. You give your job your best hours, your sharpest thinking, your most creative energy. Your business gets the leftovers, the 9 p.m. to midnight window after you've already given everything to someone else's vision. You're trying to build a future with the scraps of your present. I had a client who spent 2 years building on the side. 2 years of stolen lunch breaks and exhausted evenings. You know what she built? Resentment. Resentment towards her job for taking her time, resentment towards her business for not growing faster, resentment towards herself for not being able to do both. But after, another client told me, I can't go all in yet. What if it doesn't work? And I asked her, what if it does work, but you never gave it a real chance to find out? Your plan B isn't protecting you. It's giving you permission to half commit to the plan A, which you say is your business. and the market can smell half commitment from a mile away. You don't need a better business model. You need to decide, are you building an escape route or a side hobby? Because those require completely different levels of commitment. Let me try to explain this corporate comfort trap that we've all experienced and why it's just so hard to escape. You make good money, not change your life, multimillionaire money, but good money, enough to be very comfortable, enough to justify staying one more year. You have benefits, healthcare, 401k match, paid time off, the golden handcuffs everybody talks about. You have identity. When someone asks you what you do, you have an impressive answer, a company name people recognize, a title that commands respect. And all that is solely curing the person you actually want to become. The person who has time and identity freedom. The person who can decide how they spend their time on this earth. Here's how the trap works. Every year you stay, your lifestyle expands to match your income. Bigger house, nicer apartment, better car, private school, vacations. Now you're not just walking away from a salary, you're walking away from a lifestyle. Every promotion makes it harder for you to leave, or so you think. More money, more status, more proof that you're making it. But you're making it in someone else's vision, not your own. I've heard people say, well, I can't afford to start over. And I ask, can you afford another 10 years of Sunday night dread? The trap isn't really the money. It's the story you tell yourself about what the money means. That it means security, that it means you're smart, that it means you made the right choices. But what if the right choices now is different than the right choices then? What if staying comfortable is the riskiest thing you can do in the age of AI? And when you become an entrepreneur, your concept of how money comes in and what you do with it completely changes. Just because you're tied to your lifestyle now doesn't mean that you can't recreate that lifestyle as an entrepreneur. So stick with me here. Another part of this trap is the fear. Maybe you know what it's like to experience failure and recover. Because you're brilliant, you probably have had multiple experiences, so I bet you've experienced failure. But what you're really afraid of is public failure, of your colleagues watching you try and fall, of becoming a cautionary tale at the office. You're afraid of disappointing people, your parents who pay for that degree, your partner who's counting on your income, your kids who are used to a certain life. You're afraid of becoming average. In corporate, you're exceptional. As a founder, you might be ordinary, and that terrifies you. You're afraid of wasting time. What if you leave and it doesn't work? What if you could have been VP by now? But here's a fear you won't say out loud. You're afraid it might actually work. Because if it works, you have to admit you could have done this years ago. You have to face all that time you spent building someone else's dream instead of your own. And if it works, you have no more excuses, no more someday, no more safety of the hypothetical. Your fear isn't protecting you from failure, it's protecting you from success. Because success means you were capable all along, and that's a hard truth to sit with, all that time lost. I'm here to tell you that you still have time. You get to decide what to do with it. Here's how you can start before you're emotionally ready, because you're never gonna be emotionally ready. Step 1 is stop waiting for clarity. Clarity only comes from action, not contemplation. You don't think your way into a new life, you act your way into one. Step 2, make the smallest possible move. Not the perfect move, not the impressive move, the smallest one. One email, one post, tell one person that can help you. Step 3, set a decision deadline, not a when I feel ready timeline, an actual date. By March 15th, I will have launched my pilot program, then work backwards from there. Step 4, announce it before you're ready. Tell someone who will hold you accountable. Make it real by making it public, even if it's to a small group of friends. Here's what this actually looks like. You're not quitting your job tomorrow, you're not betting on the mortgage, you're not burning bridges, you're building proof of a concept while you still have income. You're testing your idea with real humans, you're gathering evidence that this could work. Now here's a few tangible ways that you can do this. You can offer a service or a product to 5 people for free in exchange for their testimonials. That gives you proof of concept in about 30 to 45 days. You can pre-sell your product to 10 people before you even made it. Validation and funding in a few weeks. You can post on LinkedIn. I'm launching a pilot program for X. DM me if you're interested. You could have clients before you even know it. Starting gives you clarity in a way that thinking never could. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first few steps. Now, before I go, here's a note on what it means to build in the margins. Building in the margins means you keep your job, you build nights and weekends, you prove the concept before you go all in. This is smart for most people. But here's a trap I want you to avoid. If you've been building in the margins for over a year and you're not making meaningful progress, the margins aren't working. You're either not giving it enough energy to grow, or you're using the margins as an excuse to never fully commit. Building in the margins works when you're actually building, when you're launching offers, getting clients, testing ideas, and making sales, all while keeping your 9 to 5. It doesn't work when you're quote unquote preparing to build, when you're perfecting logos, taking classes, waiting for the right time. The question isn't, when should I quit my job? The real question is, am I actually building with my job, or am I pretending to build while staying safe? Because if you're not making progress in the margins, quitting and going full time won't magically fix that. You'll just be broke and stuck instead of employed and stuck. I'll leave you with a challenge, the Sunday night test. This Sunday night, I want you to pay attention to how you feel. Like, really pay attention to your body. If you feel dread, anxiety, that pit in your stomach about Monday morning, that's data. If you feel relief, gratitude, excitement for the week ahead, that's also data. Your Sunday night feeling is your internal compass telling you whether you're on the right path. You can ignore it, you can rationalize it, you can tell yourself everyone feels this way, or you can listen to it. Because what happens if you don't? 5 years from now, you're still having the Sunday night dread. You'll still be saving business ideas, still telling yourself maybe next year. Except now, you're 5 years older, 5 years further from the courage you have right now, 5 years deeper into the corporate comfort trap. Or 5 years from now, you're running the business you kept dreaming about. You're living the life you wanted. You're working on your terms. You're building something that's yours. You found freedom. The only difference between those two futures is the decisions that you make in the next 30 days. Not the decision to quit your job, the decision to actually start, to stop researching and launch something, to stop perfecting and sell something, to stop waiting and do something. Your Sunday night is trying to speak to you. The question is, are you finally ready to listen? Here's what I've learned from corporate professionals who've made the leap. The business part is easy. It's the identity part that's hard. You kind of have to grieve the identity of employee in order to embrace the potential of founder. You have to let go of the safety net of a title in order to embrace the freedom of ownership. You have to release that need for external validation in order to trust your inner compass. Here's what doesn't work: trying to be in both mindsets. You can't be one mind in corporate and another mind in building the business. Trying to maintain that employee perception while you're creating a founder reality just doesn't work. You end up half committing to both and fully committing to neither. Here's what does work: deciding who you're becoming, not who you are, but who you're becoming, and then making decisions based on that future. See you next time.